Hey guys, Sharpen here. In this video I'm going to show you how to make self-arpeggiating pads in Serum and Massive X using the Flanger effect. They sound something like this. In addition to that, I'm going to show you how you can resample these and with some reverb and delay turn these into ambient soundscapes like these. So in this video I'm going to show you how to recreate that sound using both Serum and Massive X. I'm going to start with Serum, but before we do, you want to make sure that you have a pattern that's playing any chord, so you can constantly audition your sound using a chord, since it's a pad sound and it won't sound too good playing single notes on your keyboard instead. So I have this chord set up. And now let's go into Serum. So what you want to do first is to set both of the wavetables to basic shapes. And then you want to go ahead and switch to triangle wave on oscillator 1 and to pulse wave on B. Now for B you want to increase it up an octave and you want to set the level to 0 so we can bring it back in using an LFO to add some movement to our patch. So for the LFO I'm going to set the rate to be pretty low, something like a bar. I'm going to set it to trigger mode. I'm going to create this pattern so that it fades out and then fades in all the time. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some free voices unison to oscillator A, and I'm going to reduce the detuning since it's our main oscillator and it's going to be playing all the time, so we don't want it to be too detuned. And for oscillator B I'm going to go ahead and set the voices to 7, and I'm going to set the detuning to be slightly higher, something like this. Now I'm going to add a low pass filter so we get a more mellow sound. Something like this. And now in order to create this sort of arpeggio-like movement, I'm going to be adding a flanger. And basically right now it circles through the frequencies and creates movement all of the time. It sounds like this. So what we're going to do is to set the rate to 0 so that it doesn't move around, so that we can move it around manually using the def knob. So in order to do that I'm going to go to LFO2. I'm going to change its shape to look like a square wave, so it's sort of like an on and off switch, so the modulation doesn't happen here and it happens here immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and modulate the def knob. I'm going to set it around 50% and just find a cool spot. I'm going to increase the rate. This spot sounds pretty interesting. Now you can also mess with the feed and the phase to see if you can create cooler sounds as well. So right now it sounds pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and add some external effects as well. I'm going to add some vocodecs. Basically what you want to do is to mess with the bandwidth and the formant knobs until you find a cool sound. Also the band's amount. So let's do that. Something like this, and now we can also mess with the envelope settings to see if we can create something interesting. So by doing that we sort of eliminated the very sharp clickiness of the sound, and we made it sound slightly more ambient since it takes more time to go in and fade out. Right now we can hear the sort of clicky sounds. Right now it sounds a lot less clicky. So we're going to leave it like that. And then you can also add some sound goodizer. It sounds pretty good. and overall you got a pretty nice sound. So let's do the same in Massive X. Let's open it. So we're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. We're going to go with a triangle wave. In here we're going to go with a square wave. And let's do the same thing. So the first thing you want to do is to have this LFO modulate the volume of the second oscillator. And you want to go with a shape that goes down really fast and goes up after some time, like this one for example. I'm going to set it to a bar as well. And I'm going to pitch it up 1 octave. So right now we have this sound. And now what we're going to do is to go ahead and low pass filter it. Let's remove the keyboard tracking. And let's set it to low pass 2. And I think I'm going to also filter out the second wavetable as well, because it's a bit too harsh, something like this. And now let's go ahead and add our flanger. I'm going to set the mix at 100%, and we're going to use an LFO to modulate the time, which is the same thing as the def in Serum. So what we're going to do is to set the amount to be pretty low. And now we're going to modulate the time, but we're going to set it to sync mode, to 1/8 of a note, and to a square wave shape. So let's find a sweet spot in here as well. Oh, and we want to set it to uni so that it doesn't go both ways, like in this mode. So let's find a sweet spot. I think that here even a saw wave would sound better, I think. Yeah, it sounds better. And now we need to mess with the feedback and the amount to see what cool sounds we can get out of it. Something like this sounds pretty good to me. And then we can go ahead and also add this to our effects section with the vocoder and the sound goodizer. And it should sound pretty similar. Here's a comparison. That was Massive X. Now let's hear Serum. So in Serum, we also added some chorus. So let's add some chorus in Massive as well. We can just do that by adding some unison. Let's go with 4 voices and not too much detuning. Let's hear it. So it sounds pretty similar. Now that you have the basic patch, once you record it, you can create some really cool transition effects using external effects and some resampling. So I'm going to show you how I made a short transition using that. So basically what I did is I recorded the pattern here into Edison. And then I resampled it by lowering its pitch. So that means it's going to sound a bit slower. Like this. And then I dragged it out over here and sent it to a mixer track where I've added some delay and some reverb. So as for the delay and the reverb, what I'm doing is basically modulating the mix to go up as the sample progresses, and I'm also modulating the volume of the sample to go from 0 to 100%. So that creates a really cool transitioning effects, and once the sample ends you get just the delay and the reverb, so you can get really cool ambient sounds out of it as well, like this one. And that is pretty much it. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what subject you wanted to cover up next time.